that Italians love to do is throw dinner parties, and tonight I'm going to give you a great main entree for your next dinner party that has a wow factor, is seasonal, and so easy and healthy. Today we're going to make a pork loin, and it's going to have an apple fennel slaw, which is perfect for this time of year. So I chose a pork loin because it is very lean cut of pork. Many people don't know this, but it's almost as lean as chicken breast and filet mignon, and filled with iron and protein, of course, that is metabolism boosting. So the first thing we're going to do with this pork loin is sear it first in a very hot pan, and then we're going to put it into the oven, okay? So I'm going to take this pork loin and I'm going to go ahead and put it into a very high heat pan that has some olive oil on the bottom. That is exactly the sear that we want to sear, okay? Now, what this is doing is this searing on all sides is sealing in the juices, and then we're going to go put it into a 375-degree oven for about 25 minutes. Now, when your guests are over, you can do this part and give them a nice wow factor, and then you can put it into the oven while they go into the other room to enjoy their appetizers and recreate the rest of the dish, okay? So that's what we're going to do today. This pork loin can be marinated in a number of different ways 24 hours before you start making it. Now, you can also buy these pork loins already brined and pre-marinated at the store. I love the lemon and garlic, and it's so easy, so you don't have to waste time marinating. But I can give you a lovely pork recipe to marinate this in if you like it, if you go to my website, okay? So we are searing this baby on all sides before we go ahead and put it in the oven so that it can slow cook for about 25 to 30 minutes, and it's going to be absolutely scrumptious for your guests, okay? So now we're going to remove our pork loin from the pan and put it into a beautiful sheet pan, and this oven has been preheated to 375. There's just a little drizzle of olive oil on the pan so it doesn't stick, and we're going to go ahead and put this into our oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Whichever you think is best, and you can check in on it to see how it's doing, okay? So let's get started with our fennel and apple slaw. This is super healthy, and we're going to go ahead and put it together in a very seasonal way with healthy ingredients, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up some apples. Now these are fresh and they're seasonal. I like to use the McIntosh or the green apples in this particular recipe, and I like them super crisp. We don't want anything mealy here because we want to keep the slaw really crunchy, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to thinly slice it, and we're going to keep the skin on because the skin is where all of the fiber is. And we're just going to cut it into slivers just about this size. And as I go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze some lemon juice so that the apples do not brown and they're nice and bright and crispy for your recipe. Now, I'm also going to take this very seasonal little veggie called a fennel, and sometimes known as anais, but in Italy known as finocchio, and so that's a Neapolitan dialect. And what we're going to do is we're going to shave some of these, or lightly cut and chop into very rustic but slices just about that big, okay? And we're going to put this all together, marry this all together in a base of our purple cabbage. And we're going to head and start putting this into our bowl. Now I chose the purple, but you can use the white too, or a mixture of the two, because it's just so beautiful and colorful, and it looks so gorgeous next to the pork loin. And it has tons of quercetin, a very strong antioxidant that'll keep you very healthy through cold and flu months. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there, and that is going to be just wonderful. And we're going to go ahead and add our crispy apples that we cut up here. Just mix them together. And I do love equal parts apples and the red cabbage in this, and then about 1/3 of the entire
with the fennel. Now the other thing to give it a little bit of bite here, because we have a little bit of a sour and a little bit of a sweet going on, is I cut up some red onions, which are filled with tons of antimicrobial factors in them that are going to keep this a little spicy and also very healthy. But I'm going to just lightly sprinkle it through. I'm not going to be as heavy-handed with the red onion because it's just a slight kick we're going to give it. I'm going to give this slaw another squeeze of lemon just to brighten everything up. Now I'm going to put in some Himalayan sea salt. There's tons of minerals in it to just liven this whole dish up. Okay, we're going to mix as we go so that each ingredient is being taken on by this lovely, lovely slaw. Okay, your guests are going to love this. You can also make this in a batch ahead of time and just serve it cold when it is ready to accompany the pork loin. Or you can make it in front of your guests because you see it's taking no time at all. Now, what I'm going to do to bind this is I'm going to add some yogurt to this, some 2% Greek yogurt that is lightly going to bind this together and give it some probiotic for healthy gut bacteria as well. But this is a classic slaw, and I chose the seasonal apples because I think pork and apples, those two flavorings and pairings, go so beautifully together. So we're going to mix this up, and this looks really beautiful. And I'm going to put in a little smidge of red wine vinegar in here. You can also use apple cider, just a tad, I would say about 1 tablespoon, and continue to mix. All right, we're ready to take our pork loin out of the oven. It has been about 25 to 30 minutes, and it is absolutely scrumptious looking, and the aroma is wafting through the apartment. So we're going to go ahead and have this rest for about 10 minutes so that the juices continue to become sealed in. Okay, so now we're ready to cut our pork loin and then plate our beautiful feast. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our pork loin onto this cutting board, and we're going to cut it into about 1-inch slices. And we're going to accompany this beautiful protein with our seasonal apple and fennel coleslaw. Now that is delicious, scrumptious, and super healthy. And there we are for your next dinner party. Wow your guests with this lovely, juicy pork loin and apple and fennel slaw. Here we are, living in Italian. See you soon.